The phone rang at 5:43 in the morning. I answered without speaking. I just listened. "Mr. Ramirez, we have information that you will be visited by immigration agents today. A close relative reported you." I hung up without answering. I felt the wrinkles on my face deepen as a solitary tear rolled down my cheek. 68 years building a life, and my own son was trying to destroy it. I got up slowly, put on my worn-out slippers, and walked toward the safe hidden behind the painting of the Virgin Mary. There was my green card, shiny and legitimate for 15 years. Before we continue, please subscribe to the channel and write in the comments what time it is where you are right now. My name is Joseph Ramirez. I arrived in the United States in 1987 with nothing but an old backpack and a few $100s in my pocket. I crossed like so many others, with a heart full of fear and feet destroyed by the desert. But that is a story for another day. The important thing is that, unlike many, I did manage to legalize my situation. I worked for over 20 years cleaning offices in Los Angeles, saving every penny. I bought properties back home in Mexico. I invested in small businesses that grew. And when I finally obtained my permanent residency, I felt like I could breathe for the first time in decades. I never told anyone about my green card, not even my wife, Connie, who passed away 7 years ago without knowing. It was my insurance, my ace up my sleeve in a country where being an immigrant means always being prepared for the worst. As I poured myself a thick black coffee, I remembered when Richard, my oldest son, was 10 years old. I took him fishing at Lake Michigan. "Look, Dad, I did it all by myself." He hugged me tight that day. Now he is 42 years old. He has a real estate business and a house in Naperville that I paid 60% of, and he just tried to have me deported. The conflict started 3 months ago when I announced I was going to sell 2 plots of land in Puerto Vallarta. They are properties I bought for almost nothing in the 90s, and now they are worth a fortune. Richard and my other son, Gabriel, assumed those lands would be their inheritance. I never promised such a thing. What I did tell them, since they were children, is that they would have to earn their own way. "You gonna sell the land for what, Dad?" "To go on a cruise with Aunt Lucy." Richard told me at the family dinner last month with that mocking tone he uses. "At your age, you should be thinking about leaving things in order for us, not spending what belongs to us." What Richard does not know is that I am going to sell those lands to open a foundation. I want to create scholarships for young people from my hometown. I want to build a community library named after Connie. But he can only see green bills disappearing from his hands. The doorbell rang at 8:15. 2 ICE agents were at my door, a tall white man and a Latina woman who avoided looking me in the eyes. "Mr. Joseph Ramirez?" the man asked. "Yes, that is me," I answered calmly. "We have information that you might be in an irregular situation in this country. Do you have documents that prove your immigration status?" I remembered when Richard graduated from college. I was in the last row with my new suit. I applauded until my hands hurt. Afterward, he barely introduced me to his friends. "This is my dad," he said simply, without mentioning the 3 jobs I had to pay for that degree. "Of course, officer. Give me a moment." I went for my green card and handed it to the agent. He examined it carefully. The Latina woman finally looked at me with a mixture of surprise and something resembling respect. "Everything seems to be in order, Mr. Ramirez. We apologize for the disturbance." "No problem," I replied. "I would just like to know who made the report." The woman spoke in a low voice. "You know we cannot reveal that officially, sir. But if I were you, I would talk to my family. False reports are a federal crime." As I watched him drive away, I felt a mixture of sadness and rage. It was not just the betrayal. It was the ingratitude, the disrespect. I went back to the kitchen. I looked at the calendar. May 16th, Gabriel's birthday. There would be a dinner tonight at his house. Richard would be there, not knowing that his plan had failed, without imagining that his father, that old man he saw as a burden, had more resources and more dignity than he would ever understand. The clock marked 11:30 when I made a decision. I opened my computer and sent an email to my lawyer, Fernando. I asked him to prepare all the documents to sell the properties immediately and create the foundation. I also asked him for something else, to modify my will. Richard would no longer receive anything. Gabriel's house is big and ostentatious. When I arrived at 7 o'clock in the evening, everyone was already there. Gabriel and his wife Elena, Richard and Stephanie, my 5 teenage grandkids. They received me with distant hugs. No one noticed that I was carrying a manila envelope in my jacket. During dinner, I observed Richard. He was restless, constantly checking his phone. Surely he was expecting a call confirming that his father was already in a detention center. "And how is the sale of the lands going, Dad?" Gabriel asked while they served dessert. Before I could answer, Richard intervened. "Actually, I think Dad should reconsider that sale. It is not a good time for the real estate market in Mexico." I stared at him. His eyes avoided mine. "There are no lands left to sell," I said calmly. "I already sold them all." Silence fell over the table like a slab. Richard paled visibly. "What? When? To whom?" he stuttered. "This morning I signed the papers. The important thing is that the money will go to a foundation for students back home." "A foundation?" Richard's voice sounded strangled. "Are you going to give away millions of dollars to strangers? Is this a joke?" "No, son, it is not a joke. It is my decision. My money, my properties, my will." Gabriel tried to mediate. "Dad, I think we should talk about this in private." "On the contrary," I interrupted him. "It is the perfect time because today I also want to announce something else." I took out the manila envelope and put it on the table. Richard looked at it as if it were a venomous snake. Today I had an interesting visit. 2 immigration agents arrived at my house this morning. Richard's face was a poem of panic. Stephanie looked at him confused. Someone told him I was undocumented. I continued, "That is terrible, Dad." Gabriel said, genuinely surprised. "Who would do something like that?" "Ask your brother." All eyes turned to Richard. "I do not know what you're talking about." "Dad, you are confused. Maybe it was some resentful neighbor. Or maybe it was a son who wanted to ensure his father did not sell the properties he considered already his." I interrupted him. "The same son who 3 weeks ago told his friend Jason Williams, an IC officer, that his Mexican father had been living illegally in this country for decades. Is that true, Richard?" Gabriel's voice trembled. Richard stood up abruptly. "You have no proof of anything. Besides, if you really were illegal, would it not be my duty as an American citizen to report it?" "Sit down, Richard," I said with tranquility I did not feel. "I have something to show you." I opened the envelope and took out 3 documents. The first was a copy of my green card. The second, a recording of the call Richard made to his friend at ICE. And the third, my new will. "This," I said, showing the green card, "is what prevented you from getting rid of me this morning. I have had it for 15 years. I never told you because I always knew that money mattered more to you than your father." Richard's eyes filled with tears of rage, not regret. "And this," I continued showing the recording, "is the proof of what you did. A false report to immigration is a federal crime. Son, you could face serious charges." "You would not dare," he murmured. "You are right. I will not do it because despite everything, you are still my son. But this last thing," I said, showing the will, "I will do. Starting today, you are disinherited. You will not receive a single cent more from me. The house where you live, which is still in my name, you must buy it or vacate it in 90 days. Chaos broke out. Stephanie started to cry. Richard shouted that I could not do this to him, that he had rights. "Rights?" I asked calmly. "What rights does a son have who tries to deport his father? What rights does a man have who betrays the blood that gave him life?" I stood up slowly. I looked around at this broken family. I felt a deep sadness, but also a strange liberation. "In my hometown, there is a saying," I said as I headed toward the door. "Respect is inherited, but it is also lost. And when it is lost, son, it is like virginity. It never comes back." I went out into the cool Chicago night. Behind me, I heard hurried steps. It was Gabriel. "Dad, wait," he said. You cannot leave like this. I already made my decision, son. It is just that what Richard did is unforgivable. But I do not want you to leave thinking we are all the same. I never looked him in the eyes. I know, son. That is why you remain in my will. But I need time. I need to think about what I did wrong for my own son, to see me as an obstacle to eliminate. Gabriel hugged me then, a strong and sincere hug. I love you, Dad, he murmured. And I love you, son. When I arrived home, I called my lawyer Fernando. I asked him to stop everything. We would not file charges against Richard. I would not evict him from his house. His betrayal hurt like a dagger, but he was still my son. The phone rang once more in the early morning. It was Richard. Dad. His voice sounded broken. What I did not think that. Yes, you thought, son. You thought very well about what you were doing. And that is what hurts me the most. I can explain. It is just that the properties. We were counting on that inheritance. To not have to struggle like I did. To have the easy life that I never had. I completed his sentence. Richard, you'll always be my son. But what you did, that will take time. A lot of time. Will you forgive me someday? If you prove that you have changed, maybe. But respect you'll have to earn again, and it will not be easy. Now, do you think Richard deserves a second chance? Or is this betrayal unforgivable? Let me know in the comments. 3 weeks later, I found myself sitting in Fernando's office. I signed the last paper for the creation of the Connie Ramirez Foundation. It is done, Joseph, Fernando said. In a month, it will be operational. I left the office and walked to a small cafe. While I drank my coffee, I checked my phone. 3 missed calls from Richard. I did not answer. Some bonds need time to heal. My phone vibrated again. It was Gabriel. Dad, can we see each other today? It is about Richard. What is wrong with him? I asked immediately. Better I tell you in person. The usual cafe at 5 o'clock. At 5 o'clock sharp, I entered the cafe. Gabriel was already there. What is going on with Richard, son? Gabriel sighed deeply. Stephanie left him, Dad. She took the kids to Connecticut to her parents. I felt as if I had been punched. Why? She says she does not recognize the man she married. That since what happened, Richard drinks too much. He has become verbally aggressive. My God, I murmured. That is not all. Gabriel lowered his voice. He lost his job. The real estate agency let him go because he arrived drunk to a meeting. And now where is he? He is coming here, Dad. I told him you would be here. He needs your help. Before I could answer, the door opened and Richard entered. I had never seen him like this. Disheveled, beard of several days, red eyes. He sat down without saying hello. A black coffee, he said with a hoarse voice, and a shot of tequila. Just coffee, Gabriel corrected. I looked at my oldest son, this stranger he had become. Richard, I said finally, your brother told me what is happening. He let out a bitter laugh. What did he tell you? That my life is falling apart? Or did he also tell you that I am about to lose the house because I cannot pay the mortgage? I did not know that, Gabriel said, surprised. Well, yes, Richard continued. The bank called yesterday. I am 2 months behind. His coffee arrived. He drank it in one gulp. And what do you want from me, Richard? I asked calmly. Money. His eyes filled with tears of rage. Do you think that? That I come for your damn money? Then what, son? Richard broke down. All his facade of toughness crumbled. He started to cry. I ruined everything, Dad. Everything. My marriage, my career, my relationship with you. And the worst is that I know it was my fault. My ambition, my stupidity. I observe him in silence. Why did you do it, Richard? Why did you report me to immigration? Because I am an idiot, Dad. Because I have debts. Many debts. Gambling. I have been hiding it from Stephanie for years. I thought with my part of the inheritance, I could solve everything. And that is why you tried to deport me. I did not think they would really deport you. I thought you would just get scared and change your mind about selling the properties. I took a deep breath. What do you want me to do, Richard? I want another opportunity. Dad, I do not ask you for money. I ask you for time. Time to prove to you that I can change. I kept silent. The decisions we take in moments like this define who we really are. I am going back to Mexico for a while. I said finally, a month, maybe 2. The foundation is almost ready. When I return, we will talk. Meanwhile, you can stay at my house. It will give you time to put your life in order. The surprise on his face was evident. Are you serious? Yes, but with conditions. You will seek professional help for your gambling problem. You will try to fix things with Stephanie. And you will ask your brother for work while you find something on your own. Richard extended his hand. Thank you, Dad. I swear I will not let you down this time. I did not take his hand. Instead, I stood up and hugged him, because in the end, he was still my son. Respect, I whispered in his ear. You will have to earn it again day by day. It will not be easy, but it is possible. When we separated, I saw humility in his eyes. That night, while I packed for my trip to Mexico, I found an old card Richard had made me for Father's Day when he was 7. Dad, when I grow up, I want to be like you. I kept it in my wallet. The landing in Guadalajara was smooth. My nephew Hector was waiting for me. Uncle Joseph, what a pleasure to see you. San Miguel finally appeared before us. Hector took me to the old family house. Rose, my older sister, was waiting. Until you deigned to visit, ungrateful, she said, hugging me. That night, sitting in the backyard, Rose served tequila. Tell me the truth, she said. What happened with Richard? I told her everything. The report to immigration, the betrayal. Children, she said when I finished, are sometimes a mirror we do not want to look at. Do you not remember how you were at his age? Ambitious, stubborn. I would never betray Dad. I protested. No, but you left when we needed you most when Mom got sick. Her words hit me like a slap. It was true. What should I do, Rose? What you are already doing. Give him a chance. But not for him, for you. Resentment is a poison that only kills the one who drinks it. A week after my arrival, I received a call from Gabriel. Dad, I have news. Richard had an accident. The air froze in my lungs. Is he okay? Yes, out of danger. He had been drinking. He lost control of the car on the highway. Is he in the hospital? Yes, but they will discharge him today. He was driving your car. I am sorry, Dad. The car does not matter. Is he really okay? Physically, he will be fine. Mentally, that is another story. Rose put her wrinkled hand over mine. You should go back. Your son needs you. He is a grown man, Rose. And if he is so lost that he needs your hand to find a way back, you have that freedom Dad never had. That afternoon, I called Richard. His voice sounded weak. I am very sorry, Dad. The car. Screw the car, Richard. How are you? I am scared. I think I hit rock bottom. Listen to me well, Richard. I am coming back. I will arrive the day after tomorrow. But this is your last chance. There will be no more. That night, Rose entered my room with a small wooden box. This was Dad's, she said. Inside was an antique pocket watch. Dad always said it should be yours because it was you who had the courage to cross borders. Give it to Richard to remind him where he comes from. Gabriel was waiting for me at the airport. How is he? I asked, humble, quiet, as if he finally understood the damage he has caused. When we arrived at my house, Richard was in the kitchen trying to cook with one hand in a sling. Let me help you, I said. He turned, startled. His face showed the effects of the accident. Dad, I did not expect you so soon. What are you cooking? Huevos rancheros, like Mom used to make. They were your favorites. The mention of Connie took me by surprise. We stood in silence until Gabriel left. Richard, I began, we need to talk about what is going to happen now. I took out my father's watch. It was your grandfather's. I want you to have it. His eyes filled with surprise. Why? After everything I had done? Precisely because of that. So it reminds you where you come from. The Ramirez have never been cowards. We have always faced our mistakes and paid our debts. Richard squeezed the watch. I do not deserve it, Dad. No, you do not deserve it. Not yet, but someday. If you work hard to change, maybe then you will deserve it. I have been thinking a lot, he said. In the hospital, when Stephanie brought the kids, and I saw how Michael looked at me with fear, I saw myself, Dad, and I did not like what I saw. I extended my hand, and for the first time in years, my oldest son took it. The first step is recognizing you're on the wrong path, I said. The second step is changing direction. The following days, we established a routine. Richard stayed at my house while he recovered. He went to therapy and AA meetings. Stephanie called every day so he could talk to kids. A month after the accident, she agreed to bring the kids to dinner. It was a beginning of reconciliation. 2 months later, Richard found work at a real estate agency, a lower position but a start. Stephanie agreed to try couples therapy. One afternoon, while we fixed a garden, Richard asked, Dad, why did you never tell us about your green card? Fear. When you live decades feeling that you do not belong, keeping secrets becomes a reflex. You know what is ironic? Richard said, if you had told me, none of this would have happened. I would not have tried to report you, and I would not have hit rock bottom. In a way, my betrayal brought us here. Life has strange ways of taking us where we need to be, son. At that moment, Richard's phone rang. It was Stephanie. He hung up with a small smile. She says we can try again. She wants me to come back home next month. I felt joy mixed with melancholy. My son would return to his family, and I would be alone again. But I told her that first I have to talk to you. Richard added, I want you to come with us. Dad, the house is an annex. The kids adore you, and I still have a lot to learn from you. I was left speechless. After the betrayal, the pain, and the difficult reconciliation, my son was offering me a place in his rebuilt home. Think about it, he said. That night, I thought about my father's letter. Respect is earned with actions, not with words. I thought about Richard's journey back from the abyss, and I thought about myself crossing borders all my life. My son reported me to immigration, not knowing I had a green card. And then I learned that second chances are a gift we give ourselves as much as others. The next morning, Richard found a note on the kitchen table. The answer is yes. We will go together. It is time for us all to go back home. Next to the note was my father's old watch. Inside, a photograph of my father and me when I was 5. A silent reminder that in the end, we are what we learn, what we teach, and what we forgive. A perfect circle, like time in that old watch, advancing without hurry, but without pause through generations. If you enjoyed this story about second chances and the power of forgiveness, please like this video and subscribe to the channel. Share your thoughts in the comments. Do you think Richard deserved another chance? To listen to the next story, click on the box that appears on the left. Thanks for joining us.